All right. We are live on YouTube and TikTok. Just want to make sure that, yeah, there we go. Is it streaming yet? It's not coming in yet. There it is. All right, live. What's up, everybody? All right, so my name's Eddie. I'm a trader at Tactical Edge Trading. We are a trading group. We've got a Discord. We have a website, free information, free to join. Check us out. Just a little bit about who we are. That's all. But look at the markets tonight, right? Let's see what's going on. Today was President's Day, so the U.S. was closed. Tomorrow, I want to double check and see what kind of news events we have this week. But the markets do open back up in the U.S. tomorrow. Asia and London are operating as normal, so there's volatility going on right now. I'm actually in a trade. I'll tell you guys in a little bit what trade I took. U.S. no big news this week. Friday we got core PCE. We have some GDP. And we have some flash manufacturing PMI kind of stuff. So, I mean, those will be a big day. That'll move markets that day. I don't know if it's going to be enough to, do anything crazy. But, hey, let's take a look at the markets. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if we can get an idea of what's happening this week. So I'm going to start off with a few things just to kind of just build a basis this week. So this is the S&P. So just get rid of all my scribbles from yesterday's live. This was pretty much the plan. All right, we're consolidating up here in this range. We lose the range low, and this thing could run down pretty hard. First stop around 6,700. And then we could make our way down to 6,500 for a nice some support down there. So I think this is going to be a big week for the S&P, for the U.S. markets. What's up, everybody? And, yeah, I want to see what happens. It would be interesting to see how U.S. handles all this tomorrow. So are they going to dump it out or are we going to bounce? Who knows? We'll see. Maybe they'll sweep then bounce. That'd be kind of cool. Get a nice little long from the range low. Although I am favoring a little bit more short if I have to be honest with you. It's not good. Just higher time frame context on the markets. I mean, look at the bearish divergence on the weekly as we're topping out. Price action's going up, momentum coming down. That's never a good sign on a higher time frame like the weekly, and we haven't budged yet. So it's kind of scary, man. I got to be honest with you. The markets look like they're on tilt right now. They're getting ready to go down. I'm just checking out volume real quick. I want to see if there's any volume indicators, but generally on the weekly, if you're just looking at the volume faded after this initial dump back in September of 2022. It's just faded out. We've just been climbing. I think this is on the backs of retail, man, pensions and stuff like that, just kind of loading up. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But higher time frames, man, I think this thing's coming down. What we do in the short time frames, who knows? Maybe we bounce. Maybe we do lose this level and start to make that bigger move down. Ultimately, higher time frames for you guys who are thinking more swing trading, I'm probably going to start looking down around 61.5 myself, 61.50 myself for bigger moves, maybe to accumulate a little bit down here. Nothing's financial advice here, by the way, guys. Just throwing that out there. That's kind of my level I'm watching. It makes sense. It was just the previous high, and if you go back in time, previous all-time high, we pulled back significantly. We broke out again. If you go back in time, that level has significance. The last time we did that, we broke out, we came back, tested that level. And you can just do this over and over until on the S&P, right? This one didn't necessarily get all the way down there, but after the breakout, it came pretty much all the way to that level. So this is the level to obviously look. If you just look back in history, that they rhyme. Things play out similar to the way they did before because it's people. People are the same emotions, fear, greed. We're looking at the same levels, Whoever's buying, the VIX is $20 last time I saw it. We could look at the VIX. We could definitely look at the VIX, guys. My YouTube chat's kind of dead right now. Let me double check something real quick. I want to make sure my page loaded up. I'm trying to watch my chat. Yeah, it's lagging pretty bad behind the YouTube. Sorry, guys, if you're watching on YouTube. Probably got a little bit more faster stream right now on TikTok. But anyway, that's S&P. Let's look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ, same scenario, guys. You're in a range. I got a bunch of like scribbles here, but let me just get rid of everything. I mean, just overview. Look, I mean, it's the same scenario. They're pretty much, they look exactly the same, identical. Like to like the naked eye, someone who's not really trained to look at charts and does not looking at them all the time, they would swear it's the same chart they're looking at. There's some differences, and obviously the price is the big giveaway. But I mean, look, comes back down, retests high. So I think for me, NASDAQ, I'm looking around that 22,200, 22,300. That area might be a nice area to start looking if we do get a bigger pullback. And then that starts if we lose this level. We start to lose this range right here that we're in. You know, that's the next drop. So higher time frame overview of the markets, right? Want to start there. Now we can start looking at some more individual things, what's happening in the market. So I'm going to start with a few. Actually, somebody asked me to look at mags, and that's a Magnificent 7. And let's get rid of that. So look, been in an uptrend, but it looks like it's topping out. I bet you if we pull up the momentum, yeah, look at it. From this date here, actually from here, you can see momentum has been steadily coming down. Price action has been rising. And eventually it started to play out. We put in our first lower high on the weekly, and we just broke structure on the weekly on the Mag 7. So like right here, this level we just cracked, that's a significant level. That's a big level. That's a weekly low. We put in a weekly high, weekly low, swing a lower high, and then we broke that low. So that's a market structure shift on the weekly so far. So what you're looking for really here is some type of bounce at some point, a retest, maybe up to this level here, possibly a little higher, but essentially you're not going to come back up to this level here. Like as long as it doesn't break this level here, it's still considered a lower high. So come back up, and then you're going to probably get some type of continuation. And then the pullback's not guaranteed, but they do happen. So, I mean, that's what I'd be looking for confirmation of a downtrend on the weekly. So right now, not looking great. It lost support, whereas like the S&P and NASDAQ are still hovering just above. So Mag 7's already starting to show signs of weakness. Could be like a front run to the rest of the market. So maybe pay attention. But also, money is rotating a little bit. Like you see some of the lower caps moving a little stronger. So anyways, guys, look. Just want to throw this out there. If you're still doing what 90% of traders are doing, you're already cooked, man. I'm straight up. Like, everything's on our website that you need to succeed in trading and just to, like, kind of just do better in the markets and have a better understanding. Like, you're not going to go in blind just longing and shorting places or buying in random levels. So, join the Discord. It's free to join. Links are in the bio. You can join from the website, tacticaledgetraders.com. And like learn about the game, dude. Like, I mean, if you guys are in the markets, there's nothing wrong with information. Information's only going to help you. So that's my shill. Anyways, guys. So that's Mag 7. Another one to look at, little request I got earlier was MP Materials Corp. I'm not sure what this is, but also, guys, yo, what's up, Rob? If you guys have tickers, throw them in the chat. I'm going to get to them after I go over the next like 2 more charts. Then we can start hitting the call of requests. You know what I mean? Also, if you're watching on TikTok, give us a follow. Helps the channel, helps us out, show some appreciation. Yeah. But anyway, look, MP on the daily. So we got a daily low down here. It's pretty important. It's probably a weekly low as well. Yeah. So your weekly low, here's your weekly high. Like swing high, not like the actual week. So think of this like a range for now. If you lose this level, probably a sign of a bigger move down, because on the weekly, we've put in a high, we put in a low, and this is a lower high. You don't want to lose this level. Otherwise, you're probably going to come take back a lot of this candle up on MP. Like, that's just the way this thing works. You know, fast up, fast down. So if it doesn't hold here, man, this thing could come down pretty quickly. Back in the 30s, 28, this zone generally down here. Maybe you'll catch a bounce. I mean, you could see we're bouncing now. We're trying to bounce off this previous high. If you just drag this over right here, you could see. It's trying to hold the previous high. So if it fails to hold that, I mean, it's just going to make its way back down. So big level to hold, $51, $52. My opinion, from what I can see on the markets. I mean, look. I want to go look at some divergences. Is there anything there? We had a little divergence here on the weekly at this high. So that could be an early sign of a top, but we won't know yet. And on the daily, it doesn't look too bad. So look, man, it's consolidating now. It's interesting to see what's going to happen here. It could be a bull flag, maybe, right? Because on a lower time frame, that's a daily break of structure right there. That broke that high on the daily. Hasn't put in a market structure shift yet, and it broke it here. So like, look, you got several breaks. Problem is you haven't gotten the market structure shift, so it's like the conviction is not 100% there. So this needs to start shifting up. I think how you stay bullish is you break this high here. You start getting back above 72, I think you got a good shot at attacking $100 again. That's really the level to break. And if, let's say this was a bull flag, which I'm not saying it is, but let's say it was. You know, it could take you back up into, it would take you back above this zone here. So if this were to break out, you know, measured move somewhere like up around the mid 80s. So I don't know. We'll see, man. It doesn't look too bullish, but sometimes they look bearish and then they run up. So the big thing is it could come down to 52. You can't lose 52. If this thing starts to break out to the upside, you possibly have a nice little pop there. Maybe some life. So that's MP. I have 20K in 2x Google. I'm down for 1.5K. Can you do analysis on Google? I will. I got Google on my list for you, bro. What's up, Ben? I see you in there lurking. You said bloodbath tomorrow, Fox Trader. Dude, I don't know, man. It's going to be a bloodbath for either longs or short. There's going to be some volatility, man. I think tomorrow's going to be one of those days I sit out in the morning and just watch the mayhem and then just wait for the market to pick a direction, and then I'll just find my entry. That's just me, though. Uranium was another request I want to look at. It's a precious metal, so I mean, like this thing, I think it's not a written metal. I don't know what fucking uranium is, dude. I know it's an element. But look, it looks a little toppy. I'm going to be honest with you on the daily. If I go to the weekly, that looks a little toppy. It looks like the rest of the market where we put a high back in, like, you know, Q3, Q4 of last year, and now we're coming back up and we did like a double top on it. And you can see they swept the high here. So that's that first thing that like kind of like makes me a little bit like this don't look too great. They took the high, and I guarantee there's a bearish divergence. Look, yep, see, you can tell with the price action when they're going up like this when there's going to be divergence. Volume's probably shit too. No, volume's actually not bad on the weekly. So, but the volume, that doesn't give us too much. There's other ways to look at volume to find out who's winning, the longs or the shorts. But look, bearish divergence. You got 3 drives of it. 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. And it looks like it's starting to play out. I think your last hope on uranium on the higher time frames. I know you want to look at the JMAG if you're listening or watching this. I know you said the daily. I'm just kind of getting my bearings on the weekly. So I'd say this trend, man. I say this trend is your friend, dude. If you start to lose this trend, I think that's like your last hope. Like last bullish hope. You start to crack this, man. It's not looking good. Back down to $40 for uranium, and maybe you get a bounce, but I mean, ultimately you're probably making your way back down to this range right here, back down to this level here where it broke out of, somewhere in this zone, like 32, maybe down to like 20. I mean, you go to the weekly, it would make sense. That's the range it was in. Actually drops down a little bit lower. I'm giving a little bit more grace to it, but essentially that's going to be your next major resistance or support. And if you gain, look, here's the thing. Let's just paint the super bearish scenario here, right? I'm not like trying to be like that guy, but let's say you do make it down here. You could look for longs, right? But there's always the chance that it doesn't. Maybe you'll get a little bounce, and then you'll get acceptance back in. If you get acceptance back into this range, you're probably coming back down to this. You open the gates for like $20 and lower. So just keep that in mind. That's like super bearish scenario. Then you have like, look, maybe it doesn't break. Maybe it runs back up. But I'd say with the bearish divergences, I'd say probabilities are stacked a little bit more to the downside on the higher time frames. That's just what I'm thinking. But look, there's time. They could bounce, dude. This thing could bounce. It's coming into a zone of interest on the daily, right? So this level right here, I'm just going to use a box to illustrate this. So this was like where it was chopping around before it broke out, right? See, we're getting a little bit of a bounce there. If it dips back down a little bit, it could still find footing on this trend maybe, right? And still remain bullish, but like that's probably like the last hope. So it's holding here for now around $49. That's your like most immediate support. And I'd say like it gets down to this trend, it starts to get a little iffy around this 46. You can see it lines up with this level right there. Sorry, my scribbles are really, really messy today. So that's that one. And then I'm going to go look at, somebody asked for Google. Yes. Oof. Wait. Who? Tesla? I can look at Tesla, Jose. What's up, man? Let's see. How long does Apex dashboard take to update? I don't know, man. I don't have Apex. I wish I knew. Wish I had that answer for you, brother. Bloodbath tomorrow. Where was that? Someone said Rocket Labs. I can look at Rocket Labs. Okay, you said you're down 15K. Are you long, Danny, on Google right now? You're long? Are you long or short? Oh, you're long. Okay, look, man. Where are you long from? If you don't mind me asking, what's your entry? See if I can help you out a little bit. Nothing's financial advice. I'm just gonna give you like my opinion on like where I think price is going. I just kind of curious to see if you're like really, really down around 318, so you're at the highs, man. All right, so look, this is the way I'd play this. We lost trend, right? I've been talking about this trend for a while. I'm getting rid of some. I'm just cleaning up the charts a little bit, guys. I'm sorry. Let me just give me a second. Highs up there. We lost trend. Big deal. We lost it. We lost this wick here. We came back and claimed it. So if we don't bounce from here, the next target's down here around 297, right? Your entry is somewhere up here at the trend. Is it impossible for price to get back up there? No, it's not. At some point, there's always the possibility, whether it's here or whether it's here, maybe a little bit lower. Price could do one of these, come back up, even just do a bearish retest and get back up to your level. Now, the question is, do you want to wait for that? You know, that's the question you got to ask yourself. I can't answer for you because it does look like it's poised for more lower first. And there's no guarantee it bounces here. It is a daily level. It's significant. It's even a weekly level. There's probably a very high likelihood there's going to be a reaction there. It's just that, is it the reaction that gets you back to your break even? I think downside's more likely first, according to the higher time frames. And I just don't see a break in the trend yet. Look, if you're just thinking about it like this, the trend hasn't cracked. Until this trend cracks, man, I don't think there's any hope of upside in the short term. So you got to make that decision based on yourself, what you can withhold. Because if it's 2x and you're okay holding it down a little bit to see if you can get that bounce. Me personally, if it would have lost this trend, that's when I would have got out. This was also another opportunity right here to get out. You know, your people that recognize that the trend was failing probably did exit here. There'll probably be more opportunities, but there's no guarantees on that. So, those are the levels, man, I'd watch. I'd watch that 296 for support if it's going to continue to go down, if it can't reclaim this 305. And then if it doesn't break this trend, like I said, that's your immediate, short to medium term to kind of give you the heads up. Hey, is it going up or is it going down? So as long as it's beneath the trend's your friend, you know what I mean? Or not your friend. Yeah, do you, brother. I'll look at iron. I'm going to go look at BTC real quick. Then I got to go look at some other stuff that Rocket Labs. I'm going to look at Rocket Labs first because somebody did ask for that a while back. So look, guys, just going to throw this out there again. We are a trading group, Tactical Edge Trading. If you're doing what 90% of other traders are doing, you're already cooked, man. You're screwed. The reason the majority of people lose in trading is because everyone's doing the same shit. It's not working, clearly. So look, we have a website, tacticalhedgetraders.com. Check out the website. It's free. Tons of education on there. We don't gatekeep any of our content, as far as education stuff, our systems, our edge, none of that stuff. There's a free Discord to join. It's a trading community if you're interested. If you're serious about trading and really want to learn how the game actually works, come check us out. But yeah, BTC. I'm going to go look at Rocket Labs and BTC. I don't know what the ticker is for Rocket Labs. There it is. RKLB. Do you have a time frame you want? Danny, you think buying down and next... Look, Danny, I'm going to give you my advice on buying down. Anybody who's new to trading or is doing this or has done this, look, from my experience, averaging down is never good. Unless you have billions of dollars, we're talking about if you're Goldman Sachs, go for it. You know what I mean? If you're Berkshire Hathaway, go for it. You have the capital. But if you're just retail, even if you have 6 figures, 7 figures to invest in the market, you're just going to end up fucking losing it. Because at some point the pressure becomes too much and you're going to crack. Everybody does. and it's never good. And you never know when the market like remain more irrational longer than you can remain solvent. If you've ever heard that, there's a reason. It's fucking true, man. And I've been there and I've done that. I played the average down games, and those actually have been the ones. Those are the trades that usually lead to me blowing my account. Just saying, man. Not telling you what to do, but it's a scary road to go down. If Ben's in here, he'll probably agree with me. He will agree with me because he's been there too. All right, so I'm just going to mark off some levels on Rocket Labs real quick. By the way, guys, if you're watching, smash the like, follow, hit subscribe. We do educational content. We do live market analysis 5-6 days a week. Pretty consistently around this time, between like 8 and 9:30 is the start time. It's myself and Ben. Ben is a fucking genius in the market. Probably the best trader I've ever met. Humble too. No, he's not humble. He's a fucking bragging asshole, but no, I'm just kidding. He's a good dude. When it comes to me, he'll talk shit, so I like to get ahead of it. But no, man, I mean, look, I learn from that guy every day. They say surround yourself with people that like can who are better than you and who can like make you better. And that's what I do. And like Ben's pretty much the guy I'm like, you know, not like following around, but basically like I'm watching his moves. I'm seeing how he sees the market, and I'm trying to learn from him. So there's always somebody out there, man. So that's the beauty about being in a trading group. There's guys in our group that, you know, I don't know so much about options. They do. And they're teaching me about options. So these are your levels. You've already lost. All right, so here's the bear side and the good side. So look, let's get down to the daily chart for this one. You've lost the previous high, right? You see how it was a major level. Resistance came back, it popped, and it came back down, and it fought for a little bit, right? It fought to hold this level, and now it's turning it into resistance. If you can't reclaim $74, well, your next target for a bounce even on the daily is down here at 53. And then ultimately, you're probably going to make your way back down to this level here, because this was a range before. You were kind of chopping around here. And, you know, you went from this level up to here pretty quickly. What's to say you don't do the same thing to the downside? So just be mindful if you start to lose this level here and you can't reclaim 74, probably coming down to the low 50s. And if you lose that level, it's down to the 40s. You do have a downtrend kind of formulating right here. You can track this. This will kind of be just like your guide of like, look, trend is down, man. What do I do when the trend's down? I usually look for back tests in the trend, and I look to short. And that's what most traders do until the trend breaks. When you see this happen, then you could start flipping, you know, because that's your bullish case. You break trend, you reclaim that level that you needed to hold, and you start to mark up and you start to attack the highs up here. But until that trend breaks, that's not a possibility, you know. That trend's going to be your first indicator. So I'd watch that. Watch 74. In the short term, watch that 64, because if you start to drop that, man, I think that 54 could come pretty quickly. Just like we bounced, just like we pushed up from 54 right here, and we moved up. See how quickly that happened? It was within like 2 days it made that move. So it could come down just as quick. And oftentimes the move down is faster than the move up. Just from my experience, guys. So that's that. That's Rocket. Let me go look at BTC. I haven't even looked at this yet. For all my crypto people out there. Or just people who like to trade Bitcoin. I know like a lot of people in our group really don't give a shit about crypto, but they trade Bitcoin. And it's because it's fun. It's fun to trade, man. It's volatile, but it also has like real players in it. There's real liquidity in this thing. So, I mean, look, Bitcoin, this is the high we had to get back above, and we rejected off of it. We weren't able to break it, right? 71.6, 71.9, whatever you want to call it. That was the high. We had a little bit of a trend kind of forming, but we're flirting with breaking it now, right? So I'm just going to draw it on the higher time frames, and we'll zoom in and look at it. So that's the daily, just to build a little context. So you can see we're fighting right now to hold this trend. We had a little deviation earlier, and now we're trying to get back above. We put in a wick, and they slammed us down earlier today, which was crazy. I actually missed that trade. I was a little upset. It was a nice trade. It happened right around New York Open, too. Even though the markets were closed, that was a pretty good move. So look, if we can start breaking this high here, this 4-hour level, you see we're kind of butting up against the 69, 69, 100. Could be a nice little pop back up to fill this wick at minimum, for what I'm thinking, and maybe back up to like the 70,900 area to retest these highs. And there's always the potential. Look, it's been higher low, low, higher low, higher low. If it continues to do that and can break this high, the next logical thing is to attack this high up here around 72. So we'll see what happens. Watch this play out. This could really go either way. I mean, there's always a chance it just comes up, fills the wick, rejects, you know. So I'm not marrying any direction right now in crypto or Bitcoin because I don't think the markets really know which direction they're going yet. So until they do, it's kind of hard to play the volatile assets. So I'm keeping it short term on the trades. So if I'm looking at BTC tonight for a trade, that was your back test. You just got off the look. Oftentimes when you lose a trend and you reclaim it, you'll get a back test like you're seeing right here. This could be a springboard for it to come up and attack this 70,100 we talked about. It's about an $1,100 move. That's a little over 1%. Now, how could we get into a trade like that, right? Where are my indicators at? Hold on. There it is. So let's look at VWAP. Let's go take a look at VWAP, see where we're at. Asia loves to use VWAP as like a little tool. So look, we talked about this yesterday. I'm going to build a little bit of a base case for a bull move, right? We have a trend that started down here and we're holding that trend. We broke above VWAP here. We had a nice dip down, grab liquidity. They swept these lows here, right? They swept the pre-market lows around 4 o'clock. Actually, the end of New York, but New York wasn't open today. And now they're bouncing above VWAP. If they come back down and they start to hold support on VWAP, my guess is it's probably going to make that move up because then it would have established support here. And the next logical place for it to go is to attack this high up here, make its way back up there. Now, if it starts to lose VWAP, we have this trend down here. Starts to slip trend. This is the plan pretty much. If we slip trend, I mean, I think we're coming back down to the 65. That's like probably my target. I would look for a short. I have a plan for both directions, right? I always do. It's just how I like to trade. So look, that's my long idea. I'm already long, by the way. Just a full transparency. I went long like when we first broke out and came back and tested this. I withstood a little bit of volatility, but I'm still in the trade. But if we lose this, I mean, my stop's right under this wick here, man. If we lose this right here, I'll probably get stopped out, and then I'll probably look for the next short opportunity. And I think the short opportunity comes in a scenario like this, right? So just kind of my analysis on BTC because I am actually going to be trading it a little bit tonight. So look, if this continues up, that's our target up here, target 1. Possibly target 2 up here around 72. Let's just call it this level here. All right. But if we lose this trend, you know, we could be looking to come back down here and grab this liquidity. That's the only thing we have below us that we haven't grabbed is this right here and this. So back down to 65. So the trend is kind of going to be like a defining factor, I think, this week for which direction BTC goes for now. Unless, you know, New York comes and screws it all up and just wicks everybody out. Which they do a lot. So that's what I'm watching on BTC for the night. What's RB? Dude, I just looked at that. I don't know, man. I don't remember off the top of my head. It was at 67 last time we checked. Yep, 67. Look at daily on BTC. I did look at the daily. That's the first thing we looked at. Look, it could go either way, man. You got to build context on these things, right? This could go either way. Like, this is a consolidation, but it's also lower highs and also higher lows. So it's consolidating. It's getting ready to make a move. Like, end of the day, this thing is gearing up for a move up or down. That's why I'm saying I have a plan for both directions. Like, you got to, like, you can never, like, lean too far one direction unless you just had, like, a 20% drop and, you just hit a major level. Then maybe you don't want to be too short biased. But, like, in this the case here, man, this could go up or down. This could be an ascending triangle, and this could also just be a freaking bear pennant getting ready to roll over, a bear flag. So we won't know until probably tomorrow. Tonight into tomorrow, I think we're going to have some direction. Based on the way this trend is going up, right? Going into this resistance, like, at some point, this is going to have to make a decision. So it's like, I'm just going to wait. I'm already in the long. I got a nice level. I'm going to wait to make any other major decisions on this. But, I mean, for now, it's got a little bit of a range you could play. It's getting tight, though, so it's getting harder to move. Tesla. Let's go look at Tesla, man. I got you, Jose. Hopefully you're still here. If not, just watch it back tomorrow. Need did ask for Tesla a while back. So anyway, that's crypto, guys. Crypto looks like shit. We did have a nice little bounce on the altcoins, but it kind of got faded really quickly. I think people are just selling off, man. Some people are starting to get the picture that we're in a bear market, and I think they're getting rid of their fucking risky shit. They're getting rid of everything, to be honest. All right, so I just want to clean this up a little bit, start fresh, right? So let's just get back down to the naked chart on this one. We'll keep that low. So look, we had a trend on Tesla from March 2025, tariff lows. Trending up, caught resistance at the all-time highs. We actually swept the all-time high. And we kind of started to break down, man. I mean, like, look, I said it, like, look a little head and shoulder. I said, if we lost this trend, I said, look for this low to get attacked. They front ran this low, so it hasn't gotten hit. But here's the thing. They came back up and back tested the trend. So the trend's being respected as resistance right now. This is proof. So if it can't get back above this trend and reclaim, like, these levels here around 450, I'd say 385 is more likely than not going to get hit. This is going to get tapped down here before any bigger moves happen. Upside or downside, you know, obviously. But yeah, I mean, lose this level, man. You're coming down. Like, there's not much below you. Maybe you get a little bit of a pit stop around this 350 where this was once resistance. This little, you know, resistance. Maybe this area in general might serve as like temporary support, just down there. But I don't know, man. I wouldn't put too much weight on. I think this gap gets filled, though. If you lose this, you come down to at least fill this gap back down to 350. So that would be a nice area to look for a temporary bounce. But a lot of times when you lose these things, they come down, man. They come down and take it all. But this is Tesla, so I don't know if Tesla does retracements like freaking like crypto. Crypto will come take it all back. I mean, it was a pretty good move, though. Look at that. So it was a pretty good move from back here. So we'll see. But those are your levels, man. I'd say you got to hold this 380, 384 level. And I'd say if you lose that, 350 is next. And right now, you got to get back over 450. If you don't get back over 450, I just don't see really any bull case right now. You could chop around for as long as it wants or needs to. But those are the big levels. It's like you're stuck between 384 and 450 right now. That's what you got to break on Tesla. I think everything going down till March. You might be right, Jaden. I mean, I've been making a lot more money shorting than longing. What's VWAP indicator called on TradingView? VWAP. Right there. VWAP. I just have it to this 15-minute session. Please do a technical analysis on the 1 month chart of what? You got to give me the chart name, brother. I'm reading your comment. No name. G. I just need to know what chart you want me to do analysis on the 1 month. I don't mind. Amazon. I can do Amazon. I mean, look, we're in the same spot we were yesterday when we talked about it. If you weren't here, then disregard. But look, you can ignore that. So look, we had a head and shoulders. We swept the previous high at 240. We lost this trend from March. Same scenario that you saw in Tesla, right? Tesla ran the same thing. But this Amazon already had its dump. So what Amazon ended up doing, I'm going to move this over here. Amazon came all the way down to a previous gap that it left behind back in May of last year. Left the gap behind on its pump up. So it bounced off that gap, hasn't filled it yet. So look, if it bounces here, the targets to attack, let's say it does fill it and it does bounce in this area, general area. The targets to the upside pretty much lie in this 210 up to 220 is your most immediate targets. Those are going to be your resistances. They left two gaps behind on the way down. Do they fill that at some point on a bounce? Maybe. I'd say this is a higher probability than this one, but like, hey, you never know. So maybe we get a fill here. Maybe we look for a bottom to form, and then we can attack these highs. But for now, your support is pretty much where you're at now. This 198, 197, down to like 194. Below that, you pretty much drop all the way down sub like 180. You could come all the way down at that point. There's not much below you here. And it's just not much. So, yeah, there's not really much to talk about here on like the lower time frames. This thing is just kind of chopping around. You see what I mean? I don't know how to TA that. I would just say wait for market structure to form. But it's getting a little bit of a bounce here. Maybe they're trapping some traders who tried to go short, or like people went short last minute trying to squeeze a little bit more out, and they're just faking people out. Or maybe people are taking profits going into the gap. That was their target. So just give this some time, let it play out, see what happens. If we form a bottom, those are your targets to the upside. And, you know, if you start to lose this support at 198, look down to 194, you lose that, man, you're looking down to like 175. Probably down here somewhere. It may be down to 160. I don't want to get super bearish, but yeah. Hold on 1 second, guys. Get rid of my little... Yeah, MSFT. I could look at MSFT. Guys, smash the like, hit follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We do stream about 5-6 days a week, myself and Ben. And if you're interested and you like what you see, and you want to stop being a loser in trading, if you're, maybe you are losing, or maybe you're just not, your edge isn't like quite where you want it to be, check us out. Check out our Discord. Check out our website, tacticaledgetraders.com. Group of traders, a couple full-time. Got a lot of people working to become full-time traders there. We have the tools, the knowledge to get you there. You just got to like show up, really. And it's just it's cool being part of a community, guys, straight up. I think it's just, if I had to like, I don't know, it's just, this is a hard thing to do by yourself, trading. Let's just be real. If you're a trader and you've been doing this for solo, you understand. I did it solo, and it's tough, man. It's a mental game, and it really can screw with you. You know, you don't have anybody to tell you when you're you're doing all right, you're doing the right things. Sometimes the market can make you think that you suck. Has a way of doing that. So look, resistance up here on MSFT. Look, we double topped back July, and then we put the second top back in Q4 last year, October. Pretty normal time for this thing to top. Ran all the way back down to this macro trend that we've been holding since 2022. You had one touch here, two touch. It's trying to establish support on the weekly there. Has it done it yet? Hasn't confirmed. It just hasn't. We haven't even gotten a daily market structure shift. We do have a daily low. We have a weekly low, but we have no shift on those time frames. For right now, let's say this support were to hold, this is the level to break to shift. You'd have to get back above 423 to even have a crack at the higher levels. But if you do get back above, there is a gap. You see how we gapped down here? Price kind of just opened up here, left this whole big, inefficiency right there. Imbalance, whatever you want to call it. So that could, at some point, let me mark this up real quick. This could serve as a target, maybe up to here, maybe up to the top there to back test what we lost. We lost this level up here. This was the range we were in. We were chopping around, trying to hold it, and we lost it. We back tested, we failed, put that gap in, and we dumped. So could they come back up there and try to reclaim some of that? Absolutely. So, but it all starts down here. We got to see what happens on the daily. 4 hours, no better. There's no real shift here on the 4 hour either. So right now you're just watching support to see what happens, and you're looking for a higher low to get formed if you're a bull. And if you're a bear, you're waiting for this trend to slip for your next move. You slip this trend, you start to open up the floodgates down to, 340, this wick low right here. It's just what it is. There's nothing else really below us, unfortunately. So that's just MSFT right now. So keep an eye on that. You got that gap up above. You have your trend support that's holding. It's for now. And then you have your level below if you lose it on the weekly. I could check out Astra. Is Kush watching? He loves Astra. This is his trading coin. I can look at Palantir. Sure. Give me a second. I already did gold, Alfred. Wait, did I do gold? No, I didn't do gold. You're right. I didn't do gold. My bad. I will do gold. Absolutely. I thought I did. No, I did S&P in the beginning. My bad. Isn't the short from the gap more appealing? Dude, you do whatever you want. I said target. That was exactly what I said. Target. You know what I mean? You can do whatever you want when it gets there. I'm not telling you to long into it or short when it gets up there. Like those are just areas of interest at the end of the day in trading. So, fuck, Astra looks like shit. Who asked for this? So, whoever asked for Astra in the chat, tell me why you want to look at Astra. Are you trading it? Do you own Astra? Or you just like the chart? Like, tell me what it is. So I'm just curious. Like, why Astra? No disrespect at all either, by the way. That's like, it's me just being curious generally, because like I just don't see anything on the chart that makes me really want to trade this. So I'm just curious why you're interested. This is Forex or crypto. This right now is crypto, bro. This ain't Forex. I could look at Forex pairings. I could definitely look at Forex pairings if you want. I mean, but somebody asked for this. I gotta, just try to appease. What are the basics you look for at a chart? Support and resistances on the higher time frames. Market structure and support and resistance. Like, that's really all you're looking at. If you really want just basic TA, that's the big thing. If you want to learn about that, man, check out our website, tacticaledgetraders.com. Ben put together some good videos on that stuff. He breaks it down really well too, like for anybody to understand. And that's the beauty about, like, look, I'm going to tell you straight up, like, what our Discord is about. And me. This is just explaining me as well. I don't make anything complicated, and trading shouldn't be complicated. It doesn't need to be complicated. If you got somebody who's giving you all these like terminologies and these fucking acronyms and, dude, it's all bullshit at the end of the day. It's all the same. Like, you trade the market. You find a system that works, you execute it, and that's it. Market structure is market structure. Then day support and resistance, like horizontals, are the same. If you're one of those fair value gap people, that's fine. You stick to that. But just keep it simple at the end of the day. So look, been in the downtrend. Obviously this is the signal of the downtrend, serving as support on the underside, which is kind of interesting. But you do have some bullish divergence here on the daily, right? Coming into these lows, which kind of gave you that little pump right there. You see, we got that pump. We broke structure on the daily twice. We broke this high and we broke this high here. We haven't had a market structure shift yet. So to me, this is not confirmed. Nothing. This is just a, hey, watch me. So as long as we're above this, there's potential that you could come up and attack these highs around 80 cents. You start to lose this, you're back down here, and it really becomes a guessing game at this point. Because it was a straight up move on the higher time frames, you don't really know. There's no market structure yet. It's kind of a guess whether it's going to put in a higher low and continue up, or it's just going to go down and just continue the downtrend, So we won't know that. It's kind of like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you lose this level, then you're just waiting for the next level to get hit or waiting for a bounce to be put in. But as long as you're above this level around 70 cents, you have a shot at 80. If you can get above 80, I mean, you open up the gates to maybe $1 again. But like, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if BTC is going up, I'd imagine Astra would go up too. Doesn't look bad on the 4 hour. Look, this is probably what you want to watch here. You see how we're holding support at 70? You can't lose support. As long as you're above it, I said it's good. This could be one of two things. It could just be it's accumulation or distribution. We don't know yet. It could be a Bart Simpson. It could be a bull flag. You see the wicks. This is wicky, man. So you got to be careful with this one if you're trading leverage. But look, it starts to break up. That's your sign that's going to run up. If it starts to fade and then starts to find resistance at 70, that's your short trigger, or trigger to get out if you are long and you're in profits, hopefully. So that's what I'm seeing on Astra. I don't want to go too much higher than $1 on the levels. Look, I don't know where it's going to bounce. I guess you could say there may be a little bit of a bounce if it pulls back to around 60 cents. But if it loses that 60 cents, the next major level is 40, that low that I got put in. So just keep that in mind. I already did NVIDIA. No, I didn't do NVIDIA. Did I do NVIDIA? I got to do NVIDIA, then I got to do gold, guys. And then we can go into more degen shit. All right, so NVIDIA, same analysis as yesterday. I'm going to just get rid of everything real quick. Look, you got a little bit of a head and shoulders forming on the higher time frames. Can't ignore patterns because they play out, unfortunately. If you're a bull, unfortunate. If you're a bear, then fortunately. This is your neckline. So far, we've been holding. You got 1, 2, 3. You had a fake out, but you had a reclaim pretty quickly on the weekly, right? So look, your highs right here, and we talked about this. This is actually a good spot to short from. If we got that bounce, you're looking for short in this area. So if you caught the short up here, congratulations, you're in a nice short. Could be the one that maybe breaks through, maybe it doesn't. But when you get down here, you assess. Does it bounce or does it roll? Like, what does it do? But if it loses this level, I mean, look, the most Most obvious level for it to go to would probably be down here somewhere. Somewhere in this zone here. It's the previous highs. We chopped around there for a bit. If you take the measured move of the head and shoulders, it probably lines up somewhere in this area. Yes, somewhere in that area there. So, if you start to lose this neckline, you're looking down to 155, maybe down to 140. Could go lower than that, but I mean that's what the measured move, that's what the confluence on the support is kind of like hinting towards. Might be an area of interest to watch, but there's no way to know. And if you hold support and this thing wants to try up, it's got to break this level. It's got to get back above 194. If it can't break this high here and invalidate the head and shoulders, there's no chance you're coming. Like this thing is just, it's probably eventually going to break down. So the more times it fails to break out, it's starting to stack liquidity down here. See how these lows are not getting swept? It's stacking liquidity, so it could build up for a nice little long squeeze if they just dump this down. But yeah, I ain't no knife catcher. What question met it? I don't know, bro. Hey, bro, what brokerage are you using? Any good prop firms or leverage accounts for day trading? Depends what you're trading. If you're doing brokerages, man, just keep it simple, man. Fidelity, something like that. If you're looking for a good prop firm, the best one I've found is Brightfunded. It's a Forex style one, so it's mainly Forex pairings, but you do have indices like the US 500, which is like, S&P 500. You have your, NASDAQ, you have your commodities, gold, silver. You don't really have any select stocks, but you do have a good selection of crypto as well if you do like to trade crypto. So that's Brightfunded is the prop I like. And if you're looking for exchanges, I like BitFi. BitFi, however you want to say it. They just have really low fees, man. And they're just like every other exchange. They have just as much stuff as every other exchange, but the fees are the best. So to answer your question, Metatat, I wasn't ignoring you. I just didn't see it. Sorry. How do you identify support and resistances briefly? Look, dude, if you really want to get into it, like I would say probably join the Discord so I can really there's so much stuff on it, but I'll on the next chart, I'll show you how I identify it, kind of talk you through it. That'll be like my brief, but I got to find a good chart. So let me go look at Oracle. Somebody asked for Oracle. I don't know how to spell Oracle. There it is. All right, so look. How do we identify levels? Well, go to a higher time frame. I like to start on a weekly, especially if you're like more of an investor. You're not like a day trader. You're looking more weekly and daily levels. So what do? Well, you look for highs and lows, pivot highs and pivot lows, where candles like here, this is a high. This is a significant low because candles clustered up in reversed price. That's a high. That's a high. That's a low. We're starting to possibly form a low here, but we don't have like a 2-candle expression that has broken us out and, validated that as a low. So you would mark this as a weekly low right there. That was the last one we had. You would mark this as a weekly high, and then you could mark this as a weekly high. That's how you would get your support and resistances on like your weekly. You'd find major levels of interest, right? You go to a lower time frame, like a daily. Does any of this make sense, like on a daily that you just marked out on a weekly? Well, yeah, this level makes sense here, so we're going to keep that level. That makes a lot of sense to me. Any other levels we missed on the daily? Not really. Like this, the weekly and the daily are covered based on just the weekly levels. So you have your support around 118. You have your more immediate resistance around 207. And then you have like your all-time high around 343. There's some levels in between, but they're not like as significant to price action at this immediate moment. The next thing I like to do when I'm doing my levels, I look to look for trends. After I've got my support resistances, like my horizontals, I look to see, is there a trend I can find? Now, for a trend to establish, you need 3 points of contact, guys. You can slice through wicks sometimes, but I don't like to stretch it. In this case, we have 1 touch, 2, which establishes the beginning of the trend, and then we kind of wicked out, but the bodies didn't really close too much out here. They just kind of popped out, and then they lost it, and then we retapped. And then you got a 3rd touch here. So I would call this like a, I wouldn't give this like an A+ trend to watch, but I would say it's something to keep an eye on. So as long as you're below this for now, that's the trend is down. So you expect price action to do this. until it doesn't, until it eventually does this. So for now, trend's down. So you're looking around 118 on Oracle on the higher time frames, and you're looking around 200 to maybe 210 for resistance. If you get up there and you can't crack that 209, then you look for a rollover, because that's a big level. Anywhere from I'd say maybe even 190 up to 210. But the trend's the more immediate area to watch right now. But 4 hour, you're flagging out. You got a little bit of a bull flag, so maybe it is trying to make a move up. So just watch it, see what happens this week. I think it's all going to matter what happens tomorrow, because that's when the market's open. So maybe this does break out. And if it did, what would the measured move be? Flagpole, right? Somewhere up here would make sense. Takes us back into this resistance up here, right? See this level? It would make sense for us to pop up there. To me, it would line up. There's confluence for us to go up if it decided it wanted to. But yeah, kind of what I'm seeing there. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to check something in the background. I want to just use this time to do a little quick shill. So just, if you're not following on TikTok, give us a follow. We do content 5-6 days a week, live content as well. And then we post shorts and videos all throughout the week as well. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit like. It helps us with the algos, guys. You really do us a favor when you do that. And if you're interested, check us out, tacticalhedgetraders.com. That's our website. We do have a Discord where we do live trading. We have educational stuff. We have, we put all of our, our trading methods and all that stuff out there. We don't give signals, so get that out your head now. But we don't gatekeep. We don't sell courses is basically what I'm trying to say. But anyway, yeah, that's what I wanted to do over there. What's the next ticker we're looking at? ONDS. Hey, man, tell me Tesla doesn't look super bearish. Tesla looks bearish, bro. I'm sorry. It does look bearish. I just went over it, and I gave the most bearish thing. Pretty much the most bearish analysis you can give on Tesla. I couldn't find a bull case for it, really. I found a small bull case, but it was if it could do this type of thing. I feel bad because as soon as now I'm seeing your comment, I'm like, I can't take that back. It's on the internet now. All right, so NDS, man. Now let's get rid of some of these levels because they're not really significant right now. So pretty simple here. You had a trend, all right, from back in October. You went and took the highs out. That was your high. You took that high out. You came back down. You lost that high. You lost the trend. You tried to reclaim the trend, right? And this is a daily chart, by the way. You tried to reclaim it, and you failed to reclaim it. So your hope here is this. If you're a bull, you're hoping that this makes its way back up, takes out this high around 10, 11 bucks, can reclaim the trend, and make its way back up to the highs. That's your hope for a bull. Bears, you're just hoping that this trend stays intact and it just continues to roll back down. And I think ultimately your target's probably going to be down here at $5. Could make its way down there if it wants to get super bearish and take it all back. But you do have a big level here. Not to get super ahead of ourselves. You have a level here you front ran at $8, around $8.24. You didn't take the liquidity there. So that would probably be the first target I would imagine them going for. And then you got a level down here that makes a lot of sense too, around $7.33. So those are the two levels to the downside. Your big level to the upside is right now focus on breaking that trend, and if you can break trend, you got to get back above $10.50, $11 on the daily for the things that look bullish again. Yeah, for real trade trend lines because it fucking works. It's not the only thing I do. Trend lines are just a visual aid. It kind of gives you and you know what the beauty of a trend line is? Let's just say you're looking for a market structure shift, but you don't really want to wait for price to get all the way up to the top. You want to get in early. A trend line will give you that early break. So you just pop your trend line, you go set an alert, and you can actually set an alert on your trend when it breaks. So it's an indicator. It lets you know when price is starting to flip. So it's not an end all be all. Everything is flawed. Anything can fail. But yeah, I like to use them. So. Dude, it's seriously, right, Adam? Adam knows what I'm talking about. It's so simple that it's like dumb. I swear to God, it's so. S&P is going nowhere. I've done Google already. You can actually go back on the YouTube and actually see it in the beginning. I did Google probably first 15, 20 minutes I was on. More Astra. I do UNL already? I think I did. So that's ONDS, UNL. I can do UNL real quick. Let's see what this is. But yeah, I mean, it's simplicity, man. Like, don't complicate this shit. Like, I feel like people think that trading has to be complicated to work, and it's the complete opposite. And then on most things, simplicity usually does rule. But it's not rocket science, guys. It's fucking markets. It's the markets. It's people's emotions you're playing off of, fear and greed. That's what the market represents. And if you understand that, and you understand how you can play into those emotions, and the market gives you signs of that, like liquidity sweeps, fake breakouts, false breakouts, that's them tapping in on people's greeds. Yeah, ICT, right? Okay. So, Nick, to answer your question, right? The difference between New York and Asia, we just consider it a market session. You have three major sessions. You have Asia, which starts in crypto. Asia starts it. Then you have London, which comes in. They overlap. Asia and London overlap. And then Asia closes. London takes over. And then you have New York in the morning with the New York-London overlap. The Brinks box is what they call it. That's another time. And then New York takes over when London closes. And then there's a gap between when Asia opens up. Those are your three major world markets. There's tons of other markets, but those are your big market players. So the difference between Asia and New York has a lot more volume, a lot more ability to move markets whatever way they want. So if New York wants to take a level, they have the juice to do it. Whereas Asia, they like to play a little bit more like slow pace. They don't go for sweeps as much. They play the trend, they'll stack their moves, they'll play the retests. It moves in a more methodical way. Asia, you can actually read the moves a little bit more ahead of time. New York's full of fake outs, traps, and liquidity grabs. So you need to be like on your toes and know you have to know the trap if you're going to play New York. That's the best way I can break that down. Look, whatever I'm looking at UNL, it doesn't look great. You lost the major low. I mean, you lost it back here. You're trying to reclaim it, so you swept it. But it doesn't look strong. Like, it popped back up and it's coming back down to retest. Like, is it going to hold or is it going to fail? I'll tell you right now, if you lose this $7 level, like, this thing is pretty much done. I'm going to go to the monthly so you can see what I mean. Like, there's nothing below us. Like, coming from all the way up here around $60 where it launched, coming back to 27, being at $7 right now, you're sitting on your floor. If you lose your floor, who's to say where it's going to go? I can tell you right now, it's not going to be great. It's going to be a major capitulation, a big rollover, because this has been holding for how long is this? This has been holding since 2019. It lost its 2015 level. So, like, since 2015, this thing has been putting in new lows on the macro. So you don't want to lose that. Now to the upside, right? Let's get a little bit of hopium here, I guess. Damn. Making it really fucking difficult. Holy shit. Okay, so you got weekly bullish divergence, slight bullish divergence. The momentum wave is slightly higher. That's not like the strongest signal, but it's there, right? Slightly higher. You can see my lines going up just a little bit. Could probably even adjust this a little bit more and make it, like something like that, right? And the momentum's coming down and you swept the lows. So that's the sign for the bulls, right? So if you can hold this level, you're naturally going to assume that the next level they're going for is this 875. It's the high on the daily. There's nothing really between us and there. There's no real resistances. You got a little bit of a trend coming down here, right? That's starting to form. 3 taps. So that could also serve as resistance. So, if it does bounce here, you're looking for resistance here and you're looking for resistance up here. You start to break these levels here, these 2 levels, then you start to look for a bigger move up. It's the start of, this may have been a bottom and we're starting to mark up. So you're looking for that. That's your first big shift there, because that would be the daily market structure shift. You have your low, you have your high, and if this manages to put in a higher low here and can break that high, and it lines up with that trend, I think that could be a nice move. So And it could take you back up to these highs, maybe, you know, maybe around 10, 11 bucks. Seems to be a lot of resistance up here, so I don't know if it would necessarily crack on the first try, but, you know, a break there could get you back up into this zone. You see what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a range almost. If you're just looking at simplistic, like simple-wise, it's not really like, you know, hold above that. You expect to maybe come back up here because the last time it held and it swept, what did it do? It came right back up here. You know, the market's telling you what it's going to do. You just have to look for the clues. You know, you got to look for the signs in it, the patterns, the, you know, things that repeat, and play by the rules. Like, there are rules, market structure. If you can follow that, you're good. If you don't have market structure to the upside, you don't have an uptrend. I already did Netflix. I don't know if Netflix is a good buy, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to do Palantir right now. I'll be honest with you, brother. I don't know if anything's a good buy right now, because if it was up to me, I'd probably wait till later this year to even start looking. Maybe this summer, maybe this fall. And the reason I say that is because we just look. The S&P hasn't even tipped over yet. It's still sitting just below all-time highs. What's to say if the S&P doesn't start rolling over that, like, the rest of the market's not going to continue to roll over? You know? I don't want to start buying stuff now when the big dog hasn't even, like, made its move. Like, that's just the way I think. Just like with crypto. Like, would you want to be buying altcoins right now if you think Bitcoin's going to drop another 10, 20K? Probably not. You know, you're probably going to wait until Bitcoin bottoms out. That's the same way I would be with, like, Netflix and stuff. Wait for the big boys to bottom out, like the indices and stuff. They'll show strength in the market. People start to get a little bit of confidence, and then maybe they'll go back in. So, look, I'm going to take this little arrow away. Palantir. Head and shoulders. Right? It's playing out. We lost the neckline. We even tried to backtest the neckline right here on the daily. 144. We couldn't break above it. So right now, 144 is resistance. We need to get back above it. 144, 145. We get back above this level here on Palantir, you can start talking about higher levels. Maybe there's a back test case. Maybe there's a little bit of a bull case. Below this level, dude, you're going to start making your way down. I think it's pretty simple for me where it's going to go. But that's just higher time frames. I don't know how long it takes. But look, if I take the measured move of this head and shoulders, all right, and I run it down, where does it take me to? It takes me down to my macro 618. If I pull a Fibonacci from the low, from when this pump started back in like 2023, right? That's the macro low. That's the macro Fibonacci pull, around 82. It lines up with the head and shoulders. I don't use fibs by themselves, but it makes sense when they line up with other confluences. In this case, it does. What else do we have at this level? Well, we got this right here, this consolidation of a low, like right down here, this area, this wick low, back from the tariff low, April low. I don't know, man. Something tells me they're probably going to try to go for that. If this thing actually starts to play out to the downside, that may be a target. It's a little bit lower than that 618 we talked about, a little bit lower than the measured move. But if things start to move fast and people really start to capitulate, they could be targeting somewhere down here. So that would be a big level for me, 66. I would say 66 up to like, what, 70-ish, what we were talking about? No, 80. So, yeah, those are your big levels right here. I'm showing you on the daily, but yeah, those are your big levels, like around 88 to 86 and 65 if we continue down. You might get some bounces around 100. You can see right here there's a low on the daily, and 100 is a significant level. So price may stall out there, but yeah, we claim 145, 146. Maybe we talk higher. That's Palantir for now. I mean, higher time frames, it's looking more bearish than bullish, but we did have a big drop, so maybe it does bounce a little bit. What's a Fibonacci pool? Fibonacci pull, like pull. I'm from Philly, man. Don't make fun of my accent. We have trouble enough talking around here. Can I check out the Nikkei? Yeah, I can check out Nikkei. I'm gonna just look at the regular one. I do have a futures I look at. All right, so Nikkei, dude, Nikkei looks like fucking amazing. But this is definitely a blow off top. So Nikkei has been just trending up, right? We've just been breaking. This is last bull market, broke it, back tested in 2024 and 2025 and launched. So I think right now the floor gets raised up. This 30,000 moves up to this level here, to this 41. This is now the floor for me. This is the major support I'd be watching for any major back test. Now, the one thing to mention, and for all my not my fib haters, my trend haters, you're still on trend, man. Look at that. You still got a trend. So higher time frame, that weekly candle looks weak as shit. I'm gonna tell you straight up. That's a reversal candle, but it's not a confirmed reversal yet because we haven't lost a weekly low yet. And that weekly low comes with this trend. So right now, you need to hold this trend if you're a bull on this. I don't know if anybody holds the Nikkei, but that's what I'm saying right there. So look, 54,250. That's the previous breakout high. Somewhere in this area could serve as support. It also lines up with that trend nicely, right? We make our way down here. Nice right into that trend. If we do bounce, great. Maybe that's where we're looking for bounces. Anywhere from 53,500 up to about 54,200. That'll be a nice little bounce area. But if we fade and we start to flip this into resistance, see all this liquidity that we built up on the way up on this trend, they're coming for that. And I think ultimately the target would be down around 40,000 or whatever the increment they use over there. I know it's yen. I just don't know if this is a dollar conversion, but I don't know what that even converts to in yen. That's a high number though, right? But yeah, I mean, that's the higher time frame. I don't really like lower time frame. Looks weak as shit too. It's not a strong move right here, guys. This is poor price action. You see that wick? It's not a small wick for this is a big asset. This is their equivalent of the NASDAQ. That's an 8-9% move. If the NASDAQ dropped 9% in a day, dude, people will be fucking losing their minds. Accent problem. Bro, you want to hear something even worse? I'm half Palestinian, so I'm half Arabian. So I grew up with people speaking only Arabic and stuff like that, and they all have that Arabic accent. So I had to break that accent. Then I had to try to break the Philly accent, which sometimes it comes out in certain words. But I kind of tried to pull away from a lot of the slang and shit I used to say back in the day. But it's tough, man. It's tough. And you got bullies making fun of people with accents. It's not fair. You're a video editor experience in more than 2 years. I can enhance your videos. So next, just give me a try. Join our Discord, dude. We'll talk. If you want to join the Discord, let us know. We can talk there. It's free. We're not going to charge you to join. I love the way you trade, bro. It's simple. Thanks, Alfred. Dude, simplicity freaking rocks, man. I'm telling you, dude. If you're not doing it simple, you're overcomplicating it, and you're making trading harder than it needs to be. I'm going to take a quick break from the live me checking charts. I want to go check Bitcoin out real fast and see what it's doing. I think it might be losing this trend, or trying to. So remember we talked about this 1 hour trend right here, right? So we were looking at this trend, and we were looking at VWAP. Could it break back above VWAP? And it failed. It failed to break VWAP, and it lost it. So I'm waiting to see, does it lose this trend? But it's really, honestly, the trend's here. It's technically already losing it. I don't know, man. This thing's not looking great. Look at the bearish divergence on the 15. Do you see how momentum's shifting down? All right. As price is pushing up, this is starting to look like a rollover or a fade. I'm gonna go check out Market Cipher real quick. I want to see what money flow's doing. This is the 15. The hourly hasn't rolled over yet, but if you look at the money flow on Market Cipher, on BTC and the RSIs and the momentum, everything's coming to the downside. So I think we're going to make our way down. I don't know where, but I mean, if this thing starts to break, I mean, I would target down. I said 65 was my next target. I mean, it could happen. Will be a nice short too. Could also be doing this on BTC too. Let me get rid of VWAP real quick. I want to paint a little, just kind of play both devil's advocate, right? So maybe, just maybe, for my bull people out there, we take a parallel channel. I want to see if this works out real quick. Yeah, maybe. Extend that up a little bit. You got could be in a channel down. And if this breaks to the upside, maybe that'll be an indicator that's going to move up. But anyway, somebody want to look at gold. Let's go look at gold. We haven't looked at that. Gold. So I gave out a short earlier in the Discord, right? And I'm kind of mad at myself because I didn't stay in the short. I made good money on it, but I didn't hold the short as long as I should have. So right now I'm going to go cry about it to you guys. No, I'm not going to cry about it. So look, this is the play. Gold. I did look at gold earlier. I swear I did. Anyway, gold put in the macro high around 5,600. It wicked all the way down. Pretty big drop down to 4,400. So that's the range. That's your weekly levels right there. Those are your weekly high and your weekly low. Big ass range to play on gold, unfortunately. One second, guys. All right. So that's a big range to play on gold. Now, locally, we had this high around 5,100. We failed to get back above it. The high got put in there. We bang, banged, and then we had a big impulsive candle down. We came back up. I'm going to show you on the 4 hour. There is the impulse down. So that was the first sign of weakness going into this level. Like, it's not ready to break. Now we're putting in the first lower high, right? Go back to your daily. That's the daily low. That's the daily high. Now on the 4 hour, if we lose that daily low, that's a 4 hour market structure shift on gold, right? That's your high. That's your low. Your lower high. You lose that level, that is a signal of a downtrend on the 4 hour. Then you're expecting this. And then the target for me would be down here around 5,650. That's the next logical place on the 4 hour for it to go. If it loses that, it's coming back down to that $4,400 base that it put in. So just keep that in mind. I mean, that's a far move away. It could take a while to get there. And it doesn't necessarily have to go there right away, but it's just something to keep in mind. So right now the trend is down. Where do I flip? If this 5,100 level gets broken, man, that's pretty much it. It's got to break 51 for me to even get bullish at that point. And like bullish in the sense that it's going to come back, attack the highs. I don't know if it'll go make new all-time highs. Personally, I think this is a reversal. I think I called it the day this happened. I was like, that's a macro high on gold. I'm like, you don't get that kind of wick and that pullback. Like, it's insane. And then you got the weekly closure, which is bearish as hell. So could it come back up realistically and still be bearish and do what everything else has done, where it comes up, puts in a slightly higher high, and then dumps down? It could, because that's what the rest of the market's been doing this cycle. I mean, look at everything. Everything has been putting higher highs in and then sweeping the high one time or like twice before it decides to roll over and just die. So, but look, on the lower time frames, we got this. We got let's go to the 4 hour. We have a downtrend, established downtrend right there. That's resistance. We lost a little bit of a bear flag here. This was a flag going into resistance there, right? You can see bear flag, breakdown, lower highs, starting to make lower lows. The trend's down on gold right now, guys. Like, there's no real reason to get bullish on gold, like I said, until we start putting in higher highs and higher lows. And we haven't done that in a while. So does it go right down? I don't know. But I think target probably this week, a good target will probably be down here on this 48.75 in the short term, maybe in the next couple days would make sense. If we're just talking about the bear flag itself, I mean, that's the measured move would be right about down there, around 4,800, 48.17, somewhere in that zone. Bitcoin is rolling over right now, by the way, guys. I think it lost that trend. I'm gonna go check it out real fast. So that's the gold analysis, man. I think it's more downside. I don't know if we make new lows, but I think for now this is going to be a range high, significant high, and I think we're going to have to figure out where the low is going to be in. So just watching that for now. Yeah, BTC's rolling over, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Come on. I want to see this wick get taken. If they take this wick and it doesn't bounce right away, it's probably going to dump hard. Just off experience, because we already lost trend, and this is the last bit of support before we like start to really dump down pretty hard. Because look, we're in the low volume gap, guys, on BTC. If you guys know what low volume gaps are, they're just where the volume fades. So the volume's the thickest where we're at, where we're underneath. It starts to fade the further we go down. I go to a higher time frame, you can see same scenario, right? We got the thickest of the volume above us now is resistance. So we need to start breaking these levels that we talked about. 69,000 essentially, but a little higher than that too. If we really want to like reclaim. Anyways, that's enough of me talking about that. Solana, you want to go look at Solana? You can do that. With somebody in a bit, you're in a BTC short, Beth. Good for you. I'm happy for you. So I called out a nice little long on Solana in the Discord too. So we're gonna come down here. I'm looking for the retest of this level here, and I was looking for the bounce, and I actually caught the bounce. And why does this level make sense? Well, I gotta go to the weekly for this one. It's a weekly low, right? See the low right there we swept? That was a weekly low. What do I have here? Let me get rid of all that stuff. And we swept it, and then we came back on a daily, right? And we back tested it. And I was looking for that move. That exact move is what, and I caught the long, and I closed out around somewhere in the 90s on this move. I got in around 81, and I think I closed out up here somewhere in this little cluster. I was looking for 94 to get hit up here, but it never did. Right now, our resistance is this level here on Solana that we rejected off of, and we swept it. Look, see how we SFP'd it right there on the daily? So that's a daily high right now. We're not able to get it back above, so we got to get back above 90, 91. If we're not able to get back above 90, 91, this thing's probably coming back down to this low, the support. And if we lose that support, I think it's going to come take the wick around 78. So lose 79, 78, 68 could come pretty quickly. Right now, it doesn't look terrible, though. I will say this, like, it doesn't look bad on the 4 hour. Because, like, it doesn't look like ETH, right? Like, ETH looks like shit right now. See how ETH looks weak? It's just like, see how it's like sitting down here by its lows? Slightly higher high, higher low right there. And then you go back to Solana. And Solana has a significantly higher low, right? So it looks stronger. And if I draw a trend, it's probably still above its trend. It is, look. So I'd say Sol looks stronger than like a lot of the other altcoins right now. So if the market does decide it's going to bounce, this would probably be, that would have been a good long right there. If it breaks this level here, right, around 90 bucks, your next level is 94, 95 to tackle. It's not a huge resistance, but it's there. It's probably going to serve as a little bit of resistance because it did in the past right here. See, 94, 95. You go back to 2024, you can see it bounced around here a little bit in this little cluster. So it's going to serve as resistance to the upside. Bitcoin is bearish. It is bearish. Solana don't look bearish though, dude. Solana looks better than Bitcoin does right now. It's weird, man. It's so weird. But yeah, break this level. You're looking up towards 94, 95. You break 94, 95, you get back up above 100. You might get up to that 105. There is a chance, like let's say Bitcoin decides it's going to make a little rally. I'd say the most bullish case I can see for Solana would be like 125, 120, this high right here. Like this previous range to come back up here and back test it. In like the most bullish scenario where BTC runs up to like 80K or something, 79, 80K. And then maybe something like that. But this is going to be major resistance. So just keep that one in mind. On Sol, those are your levels there. I did look at QQQ already, Spoff. TP 78 still. Are you in a short on Solana? Look at gold rolling over. I should go short on. I should have went short on gold, or maybe I did and I didn't tell you guys. That's rolling over. Yeah, this thing's about to dump. Tell me, man, if you were in the Discord, you would have saw my call a couple hours ago. I said I'm going short. I said, say gold looks like it's about to dump. I had called it when it was up here. I was sitting back here back testing. I was like, yeah, this thing looks like it's about to roll the fuck over. And it did. So I made some money on it today. Not to brag or anything, I'm just saying. It was a good trade. I had bad trades too, by the way. So, dude, we're cooked. What are we cooked on? The whole market? We're cooked on everything, dude. Yeah, you're right. Do you trade with just shares? No, I trade futures, man. So I use like borrowed leverage and shit like that to trade. Gold market too manipulated with market makers and big institutions for me. Dude, right now, I'll tell you what I won't touch. Silver. I will not touch silver. I'm going to show you what they did early on silver. I was in a short, and then they did this shit. Look. So it broke down from this little flag as gold was breaking down, and they wicked it all the way back up. The sad part is they didn't break market structure. It's still in a downtrend because they didn't break the previous high, like on any time frame. So it's just fucking playing games, man. This shit's like super volatile. Like this wick, 4 or 5% on silver. Like people trade silver for 1% moves. Like that's like an expected move. A 4 or 5% move on silver it's a lot for most people to handle with the type of leverage most traders in silver use. So it's just interesting, you know, like silver's a tough one, man. You got to like be really careful with this one because it just runs up and down super fast and like off nothing. So that one, this is one I won't touch. And it looks like shit too, by the way. Silver and gold, the new crypto. Yeah, we could look at US oil. Yeah, dude, silver and gold have been like the new crypto, man. If you've been trading altcoins the last like 3-4 months, you've been missing out on the metals. Like if you haven't just converted, like, dude, sometimes you just gotta like chalk up what you're trading and go to what's hot. And metals have been it. And a lot of us in the Discord picked up on it early on. Back in shit, I was talking about gold and silver like last year. We were starting to really get heavy in it in the Discord. Like, yo, we got to start trading this more, man. This shit's actually starting to move. And then silver started to pop back in the fall. Dude, when silver popped last year, oh, we were all in it. We were all about it. So look, this thing, it's a tough one, man. So this is long. This is a really long time ago. So we put in a low back in March of 2020, right? We've just been consolidating since we put the high in since 2022. I'll be honest with you, dude. This thing looks like it's about to go. So, all right. I have to get my own analysis before I start like fucking spewing off what I think is going to happen. But like, look, let's talk about the monthly. I'm on a monthly, by the way. This is not like a small chart. This is multi-year. You can see multiple years on a monthly chart. Price is coming down, right? Consolidating down. All right. What is momentum doing? It's starting to shift up on the monthly. Bullish divergence. That is a sign. We are approaching a low. We've hit a low there. If I pull a fib from the low, I guarantee it's probably around the 50% or the 618. Very close to the 618, but let's just look at this real quick. This is the institutional level right here. 50% mark. So look, we're right around that 50% level. So it has a chance to bounce from here. It could come down a little bit further and maybe tap that 618 that we just had, right? So I'm not trying to get too heavy on fibs, and like, because fibs are just, like I said, they don't line up unless they make sense. But here we're close, and we're starting to see monthly bullish divergence. Could we come all the way down to this 618 and it makes sense? Yeah, look, you got this low, this previous high right around 43. If you just drag a line straight across right here, this is support, man. This is support for a long time. We could anywhere from 49 down to 43. So like the 40s could be a target if we decide to dump a little bit more. On the inverse, monthly starting to point up, right? Let's go look at the weekly. What's the weekly doing? Weekly's got divergence as well. Slight divergence, but not a lot. But it's kind of pointed down. Like market structure hasn't shifted on the weekly yet, so we can't get too bullish. I look at the daily shifted structure. We're in an uptrend. So you got an uptrend on the daily. Let me get rid of all that stuff real quick. Right? So you're basically, essentially in a little bit of an uptrend. However you want to draw this. Maybe we're a little bit below trend or fighting it right now, but we're in that zone. So I would say first thing is not to lose this low if you're bullish on US oil. Watch this low here that we're right at. So around $62. You start losing $62, you're going to slip trend. There's a good chance you're coming back down a little bit to test some of these lows, potentially even put in a new low like we talked about, right? So the daily right now looks okay. 4 hours consolidating. It's confirmed. Like, we're still above the levels. We haven't lost any major levels. I'd say the big thing to watch is go out to your like weekly on this thing at minimum. Watch this trend, man. Like, you can probably even draw this trend from all the way up here if you want an even cleaner trend, right? Like right there. You can draw it from there if you want to just have a little bit more context, right? You have that level I gave you. You're looking for something like this to happen. You're looking for a pop. A convincing pop and a higher low and then a move up. That's how these things usually break out. I mean, the monthly bullish divergence is a huge sign. I want to see what volume looks like. Fucking no volume on the monthly. There's no volume in this at all because it's not an actual chart. It's just a chart. I don't know if you can actually buy crude oil this way. You probably can buy futures or barrels. Anyway, volume's not working on this one. Whatever exchange I'm on or brokerage is not giving it. Anyways. Damn, gold's dumping. Should have took that short. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say, look, long term, I think this thing's probably going to run up. Now, where does it run up to? Well, let's just look at the obvious spot. If it breaks this trend, right, 120, 125 could be the level. Usually when you lose it, when you, look, just a little thing I pick up in the markets from trading trends. When a trend often breaks, whatever started the trend, that's usually the target for the liquidity. Like, that's where all the liquidity starts to stack. So eventually, like, they'll move it up and you'll go to attack that. It doesn't always have to get there, and it doesn't always get there, but it's still something to kind of keep in mind. Damn, market's dumping right now. But yeah, this looks good, man. I would say keep an eye on U.S. oil, man. Crude oil. This thing could be going up. It's not going to be good for us, though. I tell you that much. Not going to be good for gas. For your cars and your gas bills and all that. It's going to suck. But I mean, if you're a holder, hedge against your gas bills, guys, and your fuel. Yeah, no problem. Laugh now, cry later. Soul gonna pump and dump, dude. Probably. Let me look at others real quick. Oh, also, guys, just gotta get this out there. If you're not following us, give us a follow on TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube. Smash that like. You really do help out the algo. You help us out as a channel. We're just trying to grow, get more eyes on us. We have a Discord. We have a website, tacticaledgetraders.com. They're both free to join. We do not gatekeep any of our educational stuff. We will teach you everything you need to know for free to learn the markets. Now, the Discord, there are tiers to the Discord. I'm not going to get into that stuff. It's more about like if you're ready to take your trading to the next level, or if you want a little bit more hands-on mentorship, we do offer that. And time's not free. So obviously we charge for that, but we don't charge for, this is not it's not a paid course, none of that stuff. We're not charging for that stuff. So check us out, man. If you want to just take your game to the next level, you're sick of being, you're sick of doing what the rest of the traders in the market are doing and just, turning your wheels, like, check us out, man. It might be what puts you over the edge. I'll tell you this much. It was the last group I joined. I was in a bunch of groups, Crypto Banter for a while. I was in a bunch of Frankie Candles, so many different traders and stuff online. And like Crypto Banter, I was actually a mentor there for a bit. Not a bad, like, look, it wasn't there were good people there. I didn't really agree with a lot of stuff, and not to bash them. I don't want to talk shit. It just wasn't for me, man. It wasn't a real trading group. It didn't feel like the environment. I wanted to like that. When I wanted to join a trading group, I thought it was going to be like, hey, let's bounce ideas. I'll share setups. You share setups. We get together. We trade live. We talk about like our mistakes, accountability. It was none of that shit. It was all like just hugs and hey, trade leverage, do this. So I want to be around real traders, people that were going to make me better and I could help make better. And that's what I found here at Tactical Edge. So maybe you can find that too. Anyway, shill done. Let's go look at Bitcoin because it is dumping again. Look, we did lose that level. Starting to go, guys. Let's see if we get this wick fill. Anybody short right now? What's the move on QS? What's QS? Let me go look at that. Quantum. I have no idea, man. Let's find out what the move is. You're going to have to tell me what this is because I have no clue what I'm looking at. All right, bro. So you're approaching resist support. You put in a major high, probably bearish divergence. Yep, weekly bearish divergence. On these highs, you see momentum was shifting down as price was going up. So that's a major high right there, man. That could be the top, right? You're approaching a weekly low. I mean, shit. What else do you need? You lost market structure here on the weekly right there. When you this low, this high, and then you lost that low. That was your back test. That was your confirmation. Now you're dumping. So your last hope right now, before you like really dump any further, is probably right around here, around the 730-ish level. If you lose this level, dude, like what's stopping you from coming all the way back down to take all this candle out, back down to like $4 or $5? So you want to see what happens at this level. There's a little bit of see if there's a reaction there. I don't see a bull case right now, man. So if you're trying to long anything, you're catching falling knives. So don't do that. It never works out. It's best advice I can give you. Watch that 730. See if that holds. If you don't hold there, man, you're looking back down here. Look at this gap fill. They're coming for this, dude. I'm telling you, at some point they'll come for this. See that gap fill down there? I'm gonna drag this over now. That's sitting around that $4 or $5. It's just like it's telling you what it's gonna do, right? The market's almost telling you where it wants to go at some point. So you lose this level, I'd say that $4 or $5 gap is probably in the cards. For now, resistance is sitting here on the daily. Your daily resistance sits up about 950. You start breaking 950, you have a shot of like starting to look a little bit more bullish, starting to build some bullish market structure. But for now, it's down. EL. Yeah, I can check out EL. What's EL? Silver is trading like a penny stock. You're absolutely right, Robert. It is trading like a penny stock. This group is great. Thank you, Beth. Hey, brother, I just bought a fund not long ago. And I had one winning day close to $1,000 and came the losing streak. How long did it take you to become profitable in trading, man? If you're brand new to trading, I mean, let's say you have TA all down. You have a system, you have TA, but you're still not profitable. I mean, you've gotten the fundamentals down. You can learn that in a couple months. The hard part is mastering the emotional side, the greed side, the discipline, the patience to not just enter every trade and get chopped up, not to revenge trade, not to go on tilt, take a loss and walk away and not sit there and go back in the market and give it right back. That shit takes years, man, to really master. But you can become profitable. And like, I know guys that are profitable right now. They started fucking trading 4 months ago. But they also came in with a blank slate. No knowledge, no bias, no ego. That's the big thing too. I'm going to tell you straight up, ego. If you got an ego and you're trying to learn how to trade, especially because trading is not like you don't go to school to learn how to trade. You have to do it either from the knowledge that's out there in the world right now, or you have to find somebody to teach you. We do mentorships and stuff in our Discord, but it's not for everybody. I want to tell you straight up. Like, you got to you're going to get vetted first off. It's not free. But like going back to the whole trading thing, like if you did have a mentorship, you could probably excel and get you could probably be profitable in 6 months in most cases. But you would, it's not for everybody. If you were to do it like at a steady pace, like the average trader, you have the right resources, like a group, someone that can kind of tell you what shit's not, what shit works and what doesn't work. I mean, you can do it in a year and a half, go from being unprofitable to at least break even in a few months. And then the rest is up to you, man. You can take what could take a couple months or a couple years, depending on you. Like, do you learn from your mistakes? Are you willing to, be disciplined and stay disciplined, stay consistent? Because wealth doesn't get built overnight. Wealth gets built in the markets over time. Building accounts takes time. Small little chip shots, and not taking, stupid moves and big L's. You know what I mean? Hold on, I'm trying to type in EL real quick. Sorry, that was a big ass rant. Estée Lauder. All right, let's look at it. Damn. All right, so Estée Lauder, fucking Jesus. So we had a major trend there. We broke our first level, right? That was our downtrend macro on the weekly. We broke a pretty significant weekly high right here, and we're trying to hold above it. We also have this this trend intact, and we're holding that trend. We did deviate below it a little bit, right? So you can, let me just get rid of this level real quick. I'm going to get rid of some of the other things. Keep this simple, right? We're just looking at the trend. Fuck everything else, right? You deviate below, you're holding. The high to break now is at 120. The low to not lose is 100. If you lose 100 and you start slipping this trend, it's coming down. It could just continue its downtrend, you know? It was in a downtrend. It could continue that downtrend. So the key is to hold that trend. Key is to hold above 100. You really don't want to like start slipping that. You break 120, you open up the gates to get back up here to 160. That's your next major level, man. You've already did, the hard part is behind you on this token. The hard part was breaking this high here, which you did. See, putting the high there, bang, and then, you know, came back down, back tested. So as long as you can hold above this high, like this 100, 104, you know, there's a very good chance you could make your way back up to this 160, but you do have some resistance at 120. So break that and then, you know, home free, possibly. XRP. I knew somebody was going to ask me for XRP tonight. But I got to look at ZOM first. Hold on. Sorry, I got to sneeze. I don't want to sneeze into the mic. Whew. I called this one a while back on ExxonMobil. I was talking about this consolidation right here. And look, I even had the measured move, and it broke the measured move. So it went surpassed where it was supposed to go. So this thing, look, it flipped. This is a monthly chart, by the way. It flipped $100 into support. That's pretty much what it did. Like a decade-long resistance flipped into support. And now it's marking up. And that's what happens. Same way this would play out on a 15-minute or a 1-hour chart, this is the same way it's going to play out on a higher time frame chart. It just takes a lot longer. So look, it's putting in a significant move right now, but you're starting to get a little bit of resistance, a little bit of a pullback. You can see on the weekly starting to turn red. So you don't want to see the weekly start to take back this last candle. That's the big sign. You don't want to lose the previous weekly low. You start slipping this right here with this weekly candle, this low that got put in, this starts to become bearish on the higher time frames. Not bearish, but like bearish, you know, to the point where like there's going to be a bigger pullback than just this little pullback here. Could maybe mean we come all the way back down to this resistance here, which was once resistance around 122, could be support now. That could be, you know, something in play. I go to my daily, all right? The trend's intact. There's no reason to get bearish just yet on the daily because trend's still there, right? But if we were to lose this trend, you're on the daily, your first major support would probably be down here around 136, maybe 140. So if we lost this, you're looking here for a bounce. If they lose that level, then it's down to that 122 we talked about. So that would open up the gates for that. But right now we're above trend. So as long as you're above trend, trend's your friend. See what happens. 4 hour, kind of rolling into it right now. Just steady downtrend. So, you know, at some point there's going to be, it's going to make contact and it's going to make a decision. Is this trend legit or is it bullshit? So we'll see. But for now, I mean, the trend's up, dude. I don't really have price targets on this thing. I guess the all-time high would be a good target around 156. And then your trends are low. And then where it goes above that, I don't know. Man, when you get charts that look like this, they're just like breaking out after multi-year consolidations, it's really hard to tell where they're going to go. I mean, look, if I was just looking at this, look, it's crazy to think this, but what if that's the target? What if the full measured move of this flagpole? What if the target's $200? I mean, we're almost there. If you think about it, $100 is down here. We're already at the halfway point at 150. So maybe 200, or maybe that's just the pipe dream. You know, they sell everybody into 200. Everyone's thinking 200, and then they dump it before it gets there. So we'll see. Yeah, I can look at XRP now. I could do some XRP. How much is mentorship, Jason? Dude, check out our website. I'm going to type it in the chat for you. I don't know off the top of my head. There's different tiers. There's like an expedited tier where it's like a one-time fee, and then there's like other ones. But there's different levels of mentorship we have. Like we have operator status, which is not like a direct one-on-one mentorship. Like it's not as intense, but you do have access to trading live with us and stuff like that. That's the big thing. You get to basically be in the room with us while we're working. I mean, when I'm trading, I'm working. It's not like a place where I'm talking, like, yeah, we do kick it a little bit and talk and chit chat amongst each other, but I'm not sitting there fucking, it's not a game at the end of the day. Like trading comes first. And like, we don't want, the only reason that's actually like, you have to pay to get into the live trading with us is because it is work for us. That's how Ben makes a living. That's how Nick makes a living. I know other people that make money trading. And if we don't want that, like with a bunch of people who are like new to trading, who don't even know if they want to do this and they're not serious about it and they just show up, it would just ruin the environment for those who actually, make sense for. So look, XRP, I get to give this doomsday fucking chart away. All right. So look, we lost the major low, the major level, 180 to 190. That was what we were consolidating almost the entire bull market. We lost it. It's now resistance. We filled the wick from October, that big, that big capitulation in crypto where some things went to zero, some things, which was crazy. We filled it, and we're getting a bounce off of it, which is natural because that was months ago. When we come back months later to come grab that wick, there's going to be a bounce. So look, on the daily, we're putting in a higher low. We haven't broken any major highs yet on the daily. The only real level to come test is this 190. That's the daily high. So if it makes its way up there, it could still make its way all the way up to 190 and still put a lower high in on this time frame. Come all the way up here and still do that. So higher time frames still bearish. Lower time frames, if BTC bounces, this thing's probably going to bounce. I'd say on the 4-hour, dude, I'm going to tell you straight up, it don't look that great. It looks like BTC right now. Look, it looks like it wants to go down. It could go down, could go up. This could be a bear flag that slams us back down, or this could just be a start of this. Like, there's no real like direction just yet. So, but your support for now is around 133, 134. If you start to lose this level here, you're losing a daily low. That's not a good sign. Probably going to mean that this wick's going to get filled here, and then we're probably coming down lower. And then I'll be honest, man, at some point in the future this year, you're probably going to see XRP down here around 55, 60 cents. If you're like a holder, you're cool with that, just be prepared for it, because crypto, that's what it tends to do. And the way this came up is the way it's going to go down. You see how fast this moved up in this gap? There's no volume here. There's nothing here. There's no support. The only reason we bounced here is because we had a target that became a psychological level for everybody. People were watching this. They knew that was a target. So it became a target. And that's why we're bouncing. But I could easily see it doing something like this, where it comes back up to the trend, comes back up to that level we talked about, that 190, and then just rolls over. That's ultimately, I think, is going to happen in the next few months on XRP. But in the meantime, maybe it does get that pump up. We'll see. But those are your big levels. And if we do get a pump in the short term, you're looking around 165 has to break. You got to break this level here on the lower time frames. You see why it's important, right? You take this line here, get rid of all my stupid scribbles. Look, high, reject it again. We came back up there. We got a sharp rejection with this bearish engulfing, right? Like that was like, people were selling up here. So if we can break this, that's how we get the 190. Break 167, you get the 190. Break and hold, not just sweep. Please check Hyperliquid. Yeah, I can check Hyperliquid. Give me a second. Sol gonna pump then dump. What time is it? Yeah, I gotta go, guys. I got one more chart in me, then I gotta run. I've been on for a little over 2 hours now. Well, close to 2 hours. So that's like my limit mentally. So let me go look at Hyperliquid, and then I'm gonna jump. If I didn't get to your charts, guys, Ben will be on tomorrow. I think he goes live at 8 o'clock. If you want to know for sure, join the Discord. It's free to join. We post all when we're going live ahead of time in the events calendar, and we also let you know as a notification when we're going live, a couple minutes before sometimes. And if you want to actually if you don't want to do that, then just follow us and subscribe. You'll get notifications on TikTok and YouTube. So Hype USDT. Do we want to look at Binance? No, let's look at KuCoin. Let's see what KuCoin has here. All right, let me go out to the daily. Nope. Our Hype is fucking beat. Jesus. All right. What do we got on Hype? Well, we filled the wick from October, kind of like XRP did, but not as dramatically, right? We like barely filled it, but we filled it. We could potentially have broken out of a trend. That's why I had that trend drawn earlier, but I don't really know if I trust it too much. Never really had that third touch as confirmation. Just broke through and back tested. So I don't really know if I like that. I'm going to get rid of this. Let's just go with simple levels. All right. If you have to stretch it, just go with the simplicity. It's best. Whatever's simplest. So look, that was the previous range, right? The range high was 28. We flipped 28 into support once, twice on the higher time frames. We lose 28. What do you think happens? Probably come back down to 22, 21. As long as we're above 28, I think we're okay. You start to slip it, then you open up the floodgates for lower. Could it bounce? Yeah, but it becomes less probable, right? If you can stay above 28, well, you already tapped 37. So that you tap this high up here. What is next if we can get back above this high? Well, the next area that I really see that makes a lot of sense to me will be somewhere around this 40 to 43 area right up here. You can see the high there and where that wick kind of lines up. That would make a lot of sense for me. You get, and if you drag this box over, right? Where was that? What was it before? It was support when we were, topping out. Then it became resistance. See how many times we've hit this zone? So I think if you can break back above 36, you got a shot at back into $40, $44. Maybe a stretch up to 48, but that's a little bit of a stretch there. But it all starts with these levels here. So that's your support. That's your resistance on the higher time frames. Everything else in between these is just noise for me, man. With these altcoins, like if you got to go down to the hourly, the 15 to spot like a level on an altcoin, you're doing it wrong. Stick to your higher time frames. Play those levels. Anything in between, play the edges, not the wedges, as Ben always says. Thank you. No problem, man. It did start off lower, and you're right. It's in our group, I think Nick was talking about it when before it even launched. He's like, yo, buy this shit. He bought it like under $5. So he like 10x'd his money with that. I don't know if he sold any, but I think he took profits. But he was telling us to buy it before it even launched. He was on top of that, man. He did his homework. Anyways, guys, I'm going to jump. My name is Eddie. I am one of the traders at Tactical Edge Trading. Check us out, guys. Website's tacticaledgetraders.com. Look, dude, if you're doing it wrong, if you've been struggling in the markets, if you're just spinning your tires, dude, just give it a shot. It's free. We have a website, free educational content. You'll learn everything you need to learn for free. We don't gatekeep. We don't sell courses. And in the Discord, you'll get that sense of community. You'll get to talk to other people, figure out like what's working for you, what hasn't been working. Maybe something you're doing and you haven't seen it yet. Like maybe there's something wrong with like what you're doing and it's not obvious because what you don't know. But if you had somebody who's been in your walked the path before and they've experienced that, they can save you a lot of headache. And that's just the beauty of being part of a community. So again, that's tacticaledgetraders.com. You can join there for free. The Discord's in there. Links are in the bio and in the description. My name is Eddie. I appreciate y'all. And until the next time, I'll be on Friday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So I'll see you guys then. All right. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. Later.